cafe was unusually quiet that morning, except for the soft hum of chatter and the gentle clinking of coffee cups. In a corner sat a little girl, maybe 7 years old, with her hands pressed tightly over her ears. She was rocking back and forth, tears streaming down her face as she whispered, "Make it stop. Make it stop." Her name was Lily, and what most people didn't know was that she was the daughter of one of the most powerful CEOs in the city, Ethan Reynolds. But right then, to everyone around her, she was just a little girl having a meltdown. No one understood that the noise, the lights, the chaos, all of it was too much for her sensitive world, except for one woman. Sophie worked behind the counter, her apron smeared with flour and coffee stains. When she saw Lily trembling and gasping for air, something inside her stirred. Without a second thought, she stepped away from the register, ignoring the line of impatient customers tapping their feet. She crouched down to Lily's level, her voice as soft as a whisper. "It's okay, sweetheart," Sophie said gently. "Can you hear my voice? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3. Lily peeked through her fingers, her rapid breathing slowing just a little. Sophie offered a reassuring smile. "You're doing great, Lily. You're safe. Just breathe with me." Within minutes, the overwhelming feelings began to recede. The storm inside the little girl started to calm. Sophie then quietly reached into her bag and pulled out a pair of soft, colorful earmuffs, something she kept for her nephew, who was also autistic. She gently handed them to Lily. For the first time that day, a small smile touched Lily's lips as she put them on. "Thank you," she whispered, the world suddenly becoming a little less loud. But just as the cafe began to return to its normal rhythm, the manager stormed out from behind the counter. His tone was sharp, cutting through the calm Sophie had so carefully created. "Sophie, what do you think you're doing? You left the counter in the middle of rush hour." Sophie stood up, startled. She started to explain, but he cut her off. "I don't want excuses. You're not paid to play nanny. You're done here. Get your things and go." Sophie froze, her heart sinking into her stomach. She tried to explain about the little girl, about her distress, but the manager had already made up his mind. The room fell heavy with silence. The other customers looked away, suddenly very interested in their phones or their coffee, pretending they hadn't seen a thing. Lily's eyes widened in confusion as she watched Sophie slowly untie her apron. "It's okay," Sophie said softly to the little girl, forcing a smile she didn't feel. "Everything will be fine," but inside, she was breaking. She'd just lost her job for showing a little bit of compassion. What Sophie didn't know was that a man had witnessed the entire scene from a quiet corner of the cafe. A man in a perfectly tailored suit, with tired eyes and a heavy heart. Ethan Reynolds, the powerful CEO, and more importantly, the father of the little girl, had been there the whole time. He hadn't planned to step in, wanted to see how the world treated his daughter when he wasn't there to protect her. Most people didn't notice her. Some even stared or laughed. But this woman, this stranger, she had shown his daughter kindness when no one else would. As Sophie clutched her apron and walked toward the door, her dream of opening her own little bakery feeling further away than ever, a deep voice stopped her. "Excuse me?" She turned around slowly, her cheeks still damp from holding back tears. The man standing before her looked important, his presence commanding, yet his eyes were surprisingly kind. "I saw what you did for my daughter," he said quietly. "You didn't have to help her, but you did." "Thank you." Sophie blinked, completely confused. "Your daughter?" she asked. Ethan nodded, gesturing toward Lily, who now smiled shyly and gave a little wave from her seat. "She's autistic," he explained. "Most people don't understand how hard everyday things can be for her. But you did." A faint smile touched Sophie's lips. "She's a sweet girl. Just wanted to help." Ethan studied her for a long moment, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You were fired for doing the right thing," he said, his voice firm. "That's not something I can just ignore." He pulled out a sleek, black business card from his wallet and handed it to her. "I'm Ethan Reynolds, CEO of Reynolds Enterprises. I'd like you to come work for me." Sophie's eyes widened in disbelief. She stared at the card, then back at him. "Work for you," she stammered. "Yes," Ethan said simply. "You have empathy. It's something money can't buy. It's a quality I need around my daughter. And around my company." Sophie's voice trembled, a mix of shock and hope swirling within her. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Ethan replied, with a gentle smile. Because starting tomorrow, you work for me. A week later. Sophie found herself walking through the gleaming glass doors of Reynolds Enterprises. It felt like a different world from the cozy, flower-dusted café. She wasn't sure what to expect, but the moment she stepped inside, she felt a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. Her new role wasn't in a boardroom or an executive suite. It was in the company's brand-new family wellness and accessibility department, a project Ethan had launched right after their meeting. He wanted to make his company more inclusive, not just for his own daughter, but for every child like her and for every parent who struggled silently. Sophie worked closely with Ethan's team, her real-world experience and natural empathy guiding them. She helped develop programs for families with special needs, from creating quiet spaces in the office building to organizing support groups for parents. In time, she became more than just an employee. She became an advocate, a mentor, and a beacon of hope for many. Lily grew incredibly attached to her. Every afternoon, after Ethan finished his meetings, Lily would run to Sophie's office with a new drawing or a curious question. "Miss Sophie, do you think I can work here someday too?" she once asked, holding up a crayon sketch of herself sitting in a big office chair. Sophie smiled warmly. "Of course, sweetheart.
Us.
You can be anything you want to be." Months passed and the new department was a resounding success. One evening, Ethan invited Sophie and Lily to a quiet dinner to celebrate. As they laughed and shared stories, Ethan looked at Sophie, his expression thoughtful. "You know," he said, "I used to think the world ran on power and money. That was the only language I understood. But then I watched one woman kneel beside my daughter on a dirty cafe floor and show her more love and understanding than most people ever have. That moment changed everything for me." Sophie smiled, her eyes glistening. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change someone's entire world. Ethan nodded slowly, a profound realization dawning on him. "It changed mine," he admitted. The story of Sophie's simple act of kindness spread throughout the company and then beyond. Soon, other businesses began to reach out, inspired to adopt similar accessibility programs. Sophie never sought recognition, but her compassion created ripples of change that touched countless lives. As for Lily, she grew stronger and more confident each day, her world a little brighter and a lot less scary. All thanks to the woman who once knelt beside her on a noisy cafe floor. And every time Sophie passed by that old cafe, she smiled. Not with bitterness for the job she lost, but with immense gratitude. Because sometimes, losing what you thought you needed is the very first step toward finding your true purpose. This story reminds us that one single act of kindness can transform a life, heal a heart, and even change the world. Because true success isn't measured by what we earn or what we own, but by how we care for one another. Thank you for watching, and if this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more.